Welcome back for another grammar video. This video is for Ellie, who asked, Teacher, what are the different ways we use this word wood? The same idea from a tree. When you cut a tree, this is wood. Wood, wood. Now, let's start off with how to use this word in polite situations. For one, we can use this with would like. This is equal to the idea want. But if you are talking to someone who is very respectable, someone older than you, maybe your grandma, your grandpa, or your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, you don't want to go to them and say, hey, what do you want at Starbucks, right? You want to be extra formal, very polite. So you could say, what would you like? What would you like to drink? You're at Starbucks. You call your mother-in-law. What would you like to drink? Oh, how polite, right? Oh, I would like. So in your response, because Americans often shorten words so that we speak quicker, you could say, and this is the question, the response, oh, I would like. Or you could say, I'd like coffee, please. Now, one quick grammar lesson about this. If I use would like and I have a verb after this, then I need the word to connect the ideas. So if I say, for example, I'd like to dance. I would like to dance. You go to your boyfriend, your husband, there's music. I'd like to dance. You're telling him, come on, let's go, right? I'd like to dance. I'm connecting this modal, I'd like to, and then my other verb, dance. But you see, in this situation, there is no other verb. I'm giving you a noun. I'd like coffee. I'd like coffee, please. I'd like some coffee. So in this case, if you have a noun after, you don't need to. I'd like a salad with some orange juice, please. I'd like the Lamborghini, please. Right? So I'd like. Let's talk about two other ways you can express politeness in different situations. Wish. A wish. A wish is like magical, right? It's something you hope for. So if you use the word wish, it can also trigger the word would. Oh, I wish you would clean more. As I tell my boyfriend a lot. I wish you would clean more. I wish, and then here I use would. I wish you would clean more. I wish you, how about the negative? You wouldn't drink so much. Maybe it's the weekend, but maybe your friend is drinking too much alcohol and you're like, I wish you wouldn't drink so much, right? So this kind of follows the idea of being polite. It's something you're hoping for, but you're not directly telling them like, don't drink, don't smoke, clean more, right? You're doing it in a little bit of polite way. You're suggesting like, oh, I wish you would pick up your dirty socks from the floor more often, right? All right, wish. Next, because we have a lot. Would rather. When you say would rather, in my mind, I'm thinking of there are two situations you are choosing, you are deciding. So I would say, I'd rather I'd rather go to the movies. If I say I'd rather go to the movies tonight, that means in reality there was a second situation, but I am choosing going to the movies. So I'd rather go to the movies tonight than Disneyland for some reason, right? So I'd rather go to the movies tonight. I'd rather go eat sushi instead of Italian food. I'd rather take a cooking class. Maybe compare that to a knitting class, right? So would rather is you expressing your preference. You want one thing over the other. All right, that wraps up our first group, our first category about being polite. Now let's look into past situations. Now, when we talk about would, we can also use it to talk about past situations. Let's focus on two different ways. One is would can be used in this idea used to. Used to is a habit you did in the past regularly, like a routine, and then you stopped. So, for example, for me, when I was a teenager, I would dance every week. This is not true. I'm a terrible dancer. I can't dance. But for the situation, when I was a teenager, so this was all happening in the past, I would dance every week. Maybe I would go to a special place or I'd go to a party and I would dance. But today, no, right? When I was like 10 years ago, maybe when I was younger, I would smoke cigarettes often. Do I smoke cigarettes now? No. But this was a habit in the past. You can think of any situation that was a habit in the past. When I was young. And how about instead of I'll change it to as a child. Because you're talking about the past, that's you as a baby. As a child, my family would drive to the beach every summer. This is true. When I was a child, my family and I would take road trips. We would drive to the beach, and the water was wonderful and warm. Not like California, where it is very cold. But past habits, past routines that you do not continue anymore. But teacher, what's the difference between would and used to? Okay, if you want to go more deep into the grammar, if you use used to, you can use this for action and non-action verbs. If you don't remember what that is, you can watch the video on non-action verbs. Non-action verbs we can only use with the simple present tense. We cannot use with past continuous, present continuous. So what are some examples? I can tell you, as a child, I would hate broccoli. As a child, I would hate broccoli. This is an example of a non-action verb. What does that mean, teacher? Well, this is just a special group of verbs that we do not use with any continuous tense. So that can include hate, love, like, enjoy. I need to use used to. If I say as a child I would hate broccoli, this is not correct. Because this is a non-action verb, I need to change this to used to. I used to hate broccoli. Hate, non-action verb. I can change this to like broccoli. I can change this to love broccoli. Or enjoy broccoli. These are non-action verbs, but the big picture, the general idea I want you to remember is these two are similar. Used to, in some situations though, you will only see with specific verbs. Let's also talk about another situation in the past called reported speech. Reported speech is when I am thinking about the future. I am talking about the future, but I'm looking at my perspective is from the past tense. So what? Let's say my friend Steph. My friend Steph says, I will, right? I will help you tomorrow. This is coming from my friend Steph's mouth. She says, hey, Caroline, I'll help you tomorrow. She knows I am moving, so she says, hey, I'll help you tomorrow. Reported speech is one bit of separation. So my friend Steph says this, quote, but maybe my friend Bob asks me, wait, what? What did she say? What did Steph say? She said, so this is me. She said that she, instead of will, I change it to would. She would help me tomorrow. So reported speech is I'm telling you what another person said. Steph says, I'll help you tomorrow. What did she say? She would help me tomorrow. So you have 1 degree of like separation. I am talking about what this other person said. Okay. You don't need to concern or worry yourself too much with this, but I just want to give you all the information I can about this special word. Now, the difficult part. Let's look into hypothetical situations. Hypothetical, you're thinking, you're wondering, but it's not really a possibility. Now let's look at hypothetical situations. Hypothetical situations. This do not exist in reality. I'm only thinking, imagining, hoping for these other situations, these other possibilities in your life. You know what I'm talking about. You're sitting at your desk or in your car and you're like, I wonder if that happened, or I wonder if that changed, what would happen. So I'm going to break down 3 different types of hypothetical situations. One is just you using would and the base form of the verb, because would is a modal. When you see would, the verb after is always the base form of the verb. So, I never traveled to Italy, but I'm thinking about the hypothetical, the possible situation. Traveling to Italy would be expensive, would be difficult with my jobs, right? Or, it would be great to sleep more. It would be great to have a clean apartment. It would be great to have someone vacuum and wash the dishes and do the laundry for me, right? Hypothetical. I'm just imagining the situation. So the next part is kind of connected to this. I am going to erase this top part because there are 2 new grammar ideas I want to introduce you to. So this next part is connected to hypothetical situations, but we need to use the if clause. Let me explain it to you in 2 ways. Let's separate this. Let me begin by explaining how we use the if clause in a present time situation. So let's say I have my if clause. This if clause, an if clause is an incomplete idea. It is like a baby. It is not strong enough, so you need to connect it to another sentence. In this part, we're going to use would. So how do I use this? Well, for my if clause, I need my subject. So my if clause, my subject, plus a past verb. Students are often confused because you're like, wait, teacher, but I'm talking about the present. Yes, remember, this is all hypothetical. This is not real. So to make sure we separate reality from what's imaginary or fiction, we need to use past tense verb. This is important. And I'm going to show you an exception of one special verb. So here, the second part, we need to say, okay, your subject plus would and base form of the verb. The one interesting thing about this is I can take this if clause, comma, and then my second part, the sentence, or I can reverse it. I can take this part first, but then I don't need a comma. So let me show you what it looks like here. So if I, past tense, if I moved to a different apartment, so here I'm using my if clause, if, I have my subject, and I'm using a past tense verb. If I move to a different apartment, subject, I would, verb, a base verb, adopt a dog. But this is happening now in the present. I'm imagining right now the apartment I live in does not permit dogs. But I'm thinking, I'm imagining, I'm hoping in the present, if I move to a different apartment, I would adopt 10 dogs. I would adopt 100 dogs, right? I love dogs. So I would, and the base form of the verb, adopt. Now there's one exception, a special rule I want to teach you about this. I'm going to erase this first part here. Typically in the past tense, when you use the word was, we use it for the third person or the first person. I was, he was, she was, it was. But remember, we don't follow the rules here because this is all hypothetical. It's not real. So if I were you, this is the only situation where you're going to use were instead of was. No. For a hypothetical situation, you need to use were. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. I remember telling my brother when we were both children, I would say, if I were you, I wouldn't do that. Mom is going to be angry, right? So wouldn't, and this time it's the negative plus the base form of the verb. I want to show you an example of this I saw in a TV show recently called Warrior. It is on HBO. Let me show you very quickly. Look at this. Look at this sentence. This is an if clause example. I took a photo to show you. I wouldn't do that again if I were you. So notice that the would clause is first and then the if clause. I wouldn't do that again, this sentence. There is no comma after it. So you can reverse the order. I could say, I wouldn't do that if I were you. right? Present tense, hypothetical situation. But what about situations in the past then? So for the present, you are telling me, Teacher Caroline, that we need to use past tense verb. But what about in the past tense? Excellent question. You need to use past perfect. What? English grammar is so weird. Okay, let me show you. So let's change this to the past. So if I want to talk about the past, again, of course, I need my if clause. So if plus the subject plus past perfect. If you're wondering what is past perfect, you need to use the word had and a past participle. Oh, I had eaten before you came home. It's something you had already done before another past action. This next part, if I can find a different color, here we go. So the would sentence, again, I need my subject plus would have plus past participle. Let's look at an example. If you had interviewed for that job, if you had interviewed for that job, you would have gotten it. In this case, I'm imagining a situation in the past. This is hypothetical. It finished. I can't change the past. Unless I had magic. Maybe if I had magic, I would. But in this case, in the past, I can't change it. It is done. It is complete. But still, your mind, you can't help but think about the possibilities. If you had interviewed for that job, you would have gotten it. If you had asked me for help, I would have practiced with you so you pass your driving test. If you had studied for the exam more, you wouldn't have been so stressed. These are all hypothetical situations of the past. So, take a breath. We looked at a lot of different ways to use this one word in English. So try to open your ears and see how many times you hear this word each day, or even within an hour. When I was reading, I found the word like 50 times. When I was watching TV, it was here, it was there. So thank you to my wonderful student, Ellie. Otherwise, we would not have ever explored and looked at this word. So I appreciate you. I appreciate all the students in this class. Keep up the amazing work and let me know if you have any more questions. Take care, everyone. Bye.